What is enforced disappearance under international human rights law? Have you ever wondered what happens when a person simply vanishes without a trace? This unsettling reality is known as enforced disappearance, a serious violation of human rights under international law. Enforced disappearance occurs when someone is secretly taken or detained by state agents or individuals acting with state support. After this abduction, the state denies any knowledge of the person's fate or whereabouts, leaving them outside the protection of the law. To understand enforced disappearance, we can break it down into key elements. First, there is the act of arrest, detention, or abduction. This can happen in various ways, but it always involves the deprivation of liberty. Second, it is essential that state agents or individuals acting with state consent are involved in this act. Finally, the state must refuse to acknowledge the deprivation or conceal the fate of the person taken. This practice is alarming because it strips the disappeared individual of access to legal protections. They become vulnerable to further human rights abuses, which may include torture or even extrajudicial killing. International human rights law firmly prohibits enforced disappearance in all situations, whether during war or public emergencies. The International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance, adopted in 2006, codifies this prohibition. It requires states to criminalize enforced disappearance in their domestic laws, investigate these acts, and ensure that perpetrators are held accountable. When enforced disappearances occur on a large scale or in a systematic manner, they are classified as crimes against humanity under international criminal law. This classification means that such acts can be prosecuted at the international level without being subject to statutes of limitations. For law students and practitioners focusing on international human rights, understanding enforced disappearance is vital. It involves recognizing the violation as it intersects with rights to life, liberty, and security. Students study the legal frameworks that define and prohibit enforced disappearance, including treaties and customary international law. They also examine state obligations to prevent, investigate, and punish these acts. Analyzing case law and international mechanisms that address enforced disappearance is crucial. This includes looking at the role of the International Criminal Court and United Nations human rights bodies. Additionally, it is important to consider the challenges faced by victims and their families in seeking truth and justice. The secretive nature of enforced disappearance makes it difficult for them to obtain reparations. Enforced disappearance remains a pressing issue in human rights law, highlighting the tension between state power and individual rights. Its prohibition is fundamental to the rule of law and the protection of human dignity within international legal systems.